What is going on, you guys? Thank you very much for still continuing to follow me along my Jurassic Park review series. And today we are going to be reviewing Jurassic World that came out in 2015. Now, I know that Jurassic World Dominion just came out today, which I will get to reviewing that soon. I gotta review this, then Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom right after this, and then I will be reviewing that later on. So, guys, let's talk about Jurassic World. Now, when I first saw this movie, this was the third Jurassic Park film that I had seen. I hadn't seen the third one. I hadn't seen Lost World yet. I had only seen the first one, the third one, and then I saw this one. And I gotta say, when I first saw it in 2015, I thought it was the second best. And then, Lost World came out and I liked that one a little bit more. But then I watched this again a couple days ago, and I have to say that I may not have loved it as much the first time this time as I did the first time. But let's get started with the positive, shall we? Because there is quite a bit of stuff I do want to say about this movie. For one thing, it stars Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Now, Chris Pratt plays a guy who works in Jurassic World, so Jurassic World is now open to the public. Everybody's now visiting it. It's a great place to be. There's all different kinds of rides and exhibits that people can visit for the actual dinosaurs, which is awesome. And I do think that Chris Pratt does play really well as Owen, who is, he basically is like a tamer for velociraptors, which I thought was a really cool idea. Like, they obey what he says, and I thought it was a really cool idea. And there were a couple of things about this movie that I did like. So let's start with what worked for me. For one thing, there's one scene involving Mr. DNA. If you don't remember, he's the guy who played he was like the little Mr. DNA guy, the guy on the computer screen from the first movie, if you remember him. Yeah, you actually do get to see him a little bit in this movie, and I actually thought that was a really cool idea. I like that about this movie. Another thing was, I like how this movie is not really a remake, because even though it's Jurassic World, because they do mention Hammond, and I guess with the previous time the Jurassic Park failed, they decided, okay, let's try something different, let's try again. And so I like how it's not a remake here. I like that. And I do think the special effects here still work. I think they're awesome, and I think that people can really get behind it, because the special effects for the dinosaurs across all 5 movies I've seen so far, the special effects are never a problem, and that's great. I love how the special effects are always top notch, even in the bottom of the barrel movies, the ones that I'm not a huge fan of. And I will say that the attractions that people came up with for this movie, like the gyrospheres, which was an idea by Steven Spielberg, like where people can ride around this like little hamster balls and ride with the other dinosaurs. I thought that was a really cool idea. Looks very fun. And lastly, I like how that's where I stop with my positives for this movie, because there is a couple of things about this movie that I'm not a huge fan of. For one thing, Bryce Dallas Howard says something in this film that I think kind of pisses me off, and it's something that would not be true to this day. She says that people today are bored with dinosaurs and they want to see something bigger, more teeth, and louder. I know for a fact that's not true, because I know that if Jurassic Park was a real thing, if it was, there would not be people getting bored by seeing dinosaurs. I mean, come on, these are living dinosaurs that died 65 million years ago. So why would you think that people would eventually get bored with that? You got generations of kids who are going to keep coming back to a place that's pretty much affordable for you to go to. Nobody would get bored with that. So if anything, it's kind of dumb the way she said that, and I don't like that. Not a big fan of that. And also, the main plot of this movie is that, Jurassic World's open to the public, and then they create a new dinosaur called Indominus Rex, which is a new hybrid dinosaur that they created themselves. It's like a mashup of different dinosaurs. It's like part T-Rex, part Velociraptor, and yeah. Anybody knows that that's a terrible idea, because you can't create something bigger and not expect big consequences with it. And that's one thing that did piss me off about this movie. The fact that they wanted to create something bigger and louder with more teeth and everything, it did not work. It was stupid, and I did not like it. However, yeah, bad decision to be made for that particular movie, which I'm glad they did not carry that same thing over into Fallen Kingdom. Yeah, if you haven't seen Fallen Kingdom, yeah, they do that again in that movie. So that's cool. So yeah, bad decisions after bad decisions. So final thoughts, you guys. I don't dislike this movie. I do enjoy watching it once in a while. Now I'm glad that I was able to see it a second time because this was only the second time that I had seen it since 2015. So my opinions on it have changed a little bit, and there is a lot that you can like about this film, and I'm glad that it's not a remake again. But I will say some character decisions weren't that great. Creating a new dinosaur, and for me, running away from the realistic dinosaurs, like running from a T Rex or running from velociraptors, that's better. That's more realistic, and that's what I like. But to create a new hybrid dinosaur that wouldn't exist in the real world, like especially when dinosaurs are around, not a good direction to go in because it's kind of a cliche, and you know that those are people that are going to be doing some, and it's not a good idea. So anyway, final. So anyway, I don't hate this movie. I think it's fine. I think it's watchable despite a lot of the flaws. So if anything, I'm gonna give it the Bronze Star. I know a lot of people will probably go a little bit higher. Some people might be pissed off by that. But if anything, it's my opinion. I still do enjoy this movie. Look forward to my next review, which will be for Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. And I do want to say something else before I officially close out this video. There's going to be something new that I'm going to be reviewing on my channel. I'm going to be doing on my channel in the near future, and I'll go more into detail with it later. But I was doing some research, and I found this thing, because if you guys have followed me for a while, you know that I do book reviews as well. I don't do too much because I don't always have time in the world to read, but I have been finding more time since I finished school. I am going to be reviewing books on a disturbing book iceberg that I found online. Another YouTuber covered the same iceberg a couple years ago, which I don't know if it's owned. I don't think it's owned by him or anything, but it's an iceberg that literally starts with normal horror books and then goes all the way down to like utterly insane. And these are books that I don't think get enough credit or talked about on YouTube, and I want to bring them more into the spotlight. So I already have collected. There are 7 books total that I'm going to read that are on tier 1 of that iceberg, and you'll see what they're about and how far they go. So I'll go more into detail with it later on in the future. But as always, you guys, thank you very much. Look forward to my Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom review, which will be up probably today as well. So I'll see you guys later.